everybody, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren, and in this video we are going to be making over these nightstands. So I got these nightstands from Facebook Marketplace, my tried and true, for just $50. And these are solid wood nightstands, so I'm really excited to get to work on them. I am planning on not using any paint at all, so stay tuned to see how we are going to give these a cool refresh. All right, first things first, we're gonna remove the hardware. I think I'm gonna be keeping this hardware, but potentially just updating the color of it. I like the square, but kind of also roundedness of it. And these nightstands have a very similar shape to a dresser that I did a couple of weeks ago. And so I am gonna be pairing them together, but these, again, are not gonna get painted. They're gonna be stained with some water-based gel stain. Hardware is done, and I'm gonna label the nightstands. I like to do 1 and 2, and then also all of the drawers, so I know exactly where they are going to go back to. So that's nightstand number 1, and this is nightstand number 2. And when I take the drawers out, I kind of just label them like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and then I'll do the same 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. I am ready to clean. Got my table over here just because they're really short nightstands, so it's always nice to have them elevated up on a table to just save my back from bending over. And I am going to clean the surface of these because we just need to get any like old cleaner off, furniture polish, dust, dirt, grime, oil from fingers. There's so much stuff that could be on nightstands, and it's just important to start with a clean slate on any piece of furniture that you're making over. Okay, so for some reason these drawers have liner in them and the other ones don't. Not really sure why, but I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. I'll probably be putting some new liner in these guys. Okay, it's sanding time. The next few minutes are just gonna be of me sanding away, and these are pine, so it shouldn't take me too long because it's a soft wood, so typically it doesn't like absorb the stain a ton. And I'm gonna be using 120 grit to start. We'll see what that does. I may switch over to an 80 grit, but again, since the pine is so soft, I don't really wanna cause too many swirl marks, but I do wanna get this off in a timely manner just because I know it's not gonna be take too long. So drawers first, and then we'll do the bodies. I've got my Surf Prep 3x4 electric ray sander, and it is connected to my dust extractor over here. That's why you see the hose. So it's gonna vacuum suction all of the dust and prevent it from going into the air. Remember when I said these were solid wood? I lied. I spoke too soon, and I can tell because right here, this is clear signs of it being like chipboard or particle board, and this is likely just like a sticker or some type of like paper with this printed wood design on it. So of course that kind of messes up my plans for it to be a solid wood, no paint flip. I can tell that the tops are solid because this is like the cut side of a solid piece of wood. So there's clear differences. That's how you can kind of tell when pieces are solid versus if they have veneer or if they're particle board. So I'm gonna take my sander to it, but I really don't think that I don't think this is even veneer. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's just like a sticker of paper, so it'll just basically disintegrate. So if that's the case, then I may like paint just the side of it or something, I'm not really sure, but we'll troubleshoot. I'm gonna at least sand down everything that is possible to sand down, and then we'll go from there. It's veneer, but I didn't even know it was there, so it's so thin. Cross your fingers for me. I'm gonna go for it and hope that I don't burn through. I'm gonna go super slow and maybe even make or change this out to be like a 180 or 220. Bada bing, bada boom. I did it. I sanded one whole one down, and I got the sides all sanded down to the raw veneer. It's so thin, so I'm super proud of myself for just like taking my time, knowing that it's super thin veneer, but also knowing that I still want to stain it. So it is in really good shape. I might take just like even a 300 or 400 sandpaper to just smooth it out one more time before actually staining, but I'm gonna move on to this nightstand next so that we can get this dark one to look like this light one. All the sanding is done. I think it took me a little longer than I anticipated. It was 4 hours. 4 hours of sanding. I took maybe like a couple breaks, but it was like exactly 4 hours from when I started to when I finished. So now we are ready to stain. So I wiped off some of the dust from all of the sanding. So we've got a nice clear surface. And I, like I said at the beginning, am gonna be matching it to the dresser that I did a couple of weeks ago. And so that means that I wanna match the stains. So we are gonna use Tennessee Whiskey by Lily Moon Gel Stain, or Lily Moon Paints. It's their smoky gel stains. So it's a water-based gel stain, and I like to apply it different ways, but today I'm gonna apply it with a blue sponge. And this is just gonna help it go on super even. And then I also like to go ahead and mist my surface with some water, just kind of like as a slip coat or a pre-stain, if you will. But since it's water-based, we don't need like an oil-based or like a true pre-stain. Water kind of acts as that slip coat. So I am going to put some of this into another container so I can just dip the sponge directly in there. So I like to also make sure that I am taking my sponge and I'm going from top to bottom with the wood grain so that there's no start-stop marks, and also you can just tell that it's going straight down instead of like all over the place. You can apply it originally kind of all over the place, but once you're doing that last little swipe, make sure and go in the same direction. So I really like how that took. It's gonna be a tad bit lighter on the veneered part than the pine part, just because they are different woods. I'm not for sure what type of wood the veneer is, but I'm okay with the way that that looks. So let's go ahead and stain the rest of the piece and see what we're working with. The bodies are stained. They're drying, or that one over there is drying very light. I think it's because of the pine. So like different wood takes stains differently. So the other dresser, I only needed to do one coat of the Tennessee Whiskey on the middle drawers. But these, I don't know, it's not taking it as reddish as the other one. Kind of play around and see if a second coat will be in the cards or if just the one coat and then a top coat will suffice. So onto the drawers. Back for day 2, the stain got to dry overnight and I'm liking it Almost. There's a few areas where I feel like it took just a little bit differently. So like I really like what the face frame looks like, but the top and the sides are still a little bit light. I feel like it wasn't very consistent. So I am going to put another coat on some of the areas just to darken it up a little bit, and we'll kind of just keep playing with it and see how that goes. So same method, still going to be using the water and the same gel stain and my blue sponge just to apply kind of a second layer over some of the spots. Coat 2 is done, and that is just what it needed. Obviously it still has to dry a little bit, but even these over here are pretty much dry, at least to the touch, and they're looking 10 times better than they were before that second layer. So sometimes you just gotta trust the process. I was about to try another product and make it go darker, but then I was like, you know, I'm just gonna try another coat before I get all bent out of shape, and I'm liking the way they look. They are kind of on the more rustic side, which I'm digging, but then also still a little bit on the modern side with the shape of them and just the legs and things like that. So we are next going to let this dry and then put on a top coat. Time for the top coat. Now this stain does have a top coat built in, but I always like to have that extra assurance because it's going to be on nightstands. So the tops are going to get a lot of traffic, and I just want it to be really nice and protected. So I am using this Varathane triple thick polyurethane. I just had it on my shelf over there for another project, so I'm going to use my sprayer to get this on quick, and it is a water-based top coat, so I'm okay with putting it in my sprayer because it'll just take some soap and water to clean it up. But of course, we're gonna strain it through, and just to make sure that there's no chunks coming out into the actual sprayer to get it clogged. That is never a good thing, to have to stop and unclog your machine when you are mid-spray in the project. Once this strains out, we'll do a couple of coats of top coat. We're on the home stretch, and I am going to make over these original hardware pieces. Like I said, they're square, and I wanted them to match, at least closely match, the dresser that I did a couple weeks back, and that had a couple of square pieces of hardware in the middle, and these came with it, so it couldn't have been a better fit, but the color isn't quite right. So I am going to go ahead and just put some gold gilding wax on these guys. So gold gilding wax is an oil-based product, and it's a wax, so like once it goes on and has a little bit of time to cure, it will not come off on your fingers or anything. This is great for like gold detailing. This is great for renewing some hardware. Maybe you didn't like the original color, or it just needs to be updated. I love using this for all sorts of different types of projects. I've got this drawer liner that I'm going to insert. I'm only got enough to do the top 2 drawers, or like one on each nightstand. So that's all I'm going to line, and that's okay because the insides of the drawers are pretty clean anyway. Sometimes I just like to add a little fun on the inside of the drawer. That's a wrap on these nightstands. I am really pleased with the way that they turned out. I think that, again, like I said, I've said it in previous videos, I've said it a lot. If you're looking to get furniture on a budget, then look no further than Facebook Marketplace and your thrift stores, your local areas, the side of the road, people that you know. I got these for $50 and I invested a little bit of time. It probably took me a total of like 6 hours to redo these nightstands. And really for materials, all I used was a little bit of cleaner. I used some sandpaper, 2 coats of stain, and a couple of coats of top coat, and here we are. We've got brand new looking nightstands. It would be tricky to find quality solid wood nightstands on a place like Amazon or Wayfair, even Walmart. Those places are generally going to be completely made of plywood or chipboard, which we found out the sides are made out of that, but overall they're solid wood. And I think that that is a really good perk of these nightstands because they're going to last a long time since they're made from really quality material. It's important, again, like I said and like I did, to protect your work. So I did 3 coats of the triple layer varathane on the tops and on the bodies of these nightstands. So these are going to be great pieces that are going to last a really long time, even with the use and the wear and tear of general nightstands. I'm gonna wait. I always recommend waiting at least a week, but even 2 or 3 weeks before setting things on the tops of the furniture that's just done. The top coats and the paint coats have to cure. And yes, I have set a few things on here just briefly for the end of the video, but after that I always take it off and I let it sit in the open for a while just to let that top coat cure up so that it doesn't get damaged. What can happen is it'll stick to these items and then it'll peel it off, and really all of your work kind of goes down the drain. So I always tell customers that as well. If it's been less than a month that they're picking it up, just notify them, hey, don't set anything on this for a couple of weeks just so that it can cure. And that's just you being honest and upfront with them so that they're not surprised later down the road like you did something wrong, but you're notifying them ahead of time. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. We'll drop down a playlist in the description for more furniture flips just like this one. We'll see you next week for another video, and I'll see you on the flip side.